Hey everybody, welcome to Towel Talk Tuesday. I need to make sure that this is actually streaming on all these different platforms because this is new to me. I'm usually just streaming on Twitter. So for those of you that are coming to this on a different platform, welcome. I'm just checking to make sure that it's all working because, technology, that happens. It seems to be working on all these platforms. Yeah. So awesome. Okay, cool. Welcome to Towel Talk Tuesday. I'm glad that you guys hopefully are going to be able to tune into this on either Twitch or Facebook, Twitter, Periscope, at YouTube, etc. So welcome. I see that Rob is already here. He says, "Hey, Allie." I also have hello, Allie from Todd Howard. So hi, I'm glad you guys are here. It's been a few weeks since I've done Towel Talk Tuesday, and since I am streaming on different platforms this time, I'm going to, I guess, explain a little bit about why I'm here. I have already had some trouble with this, with Restream. I wasn't able to stream to my public page for my Star Trek stuff, so I'm streaming to my personal page. So what I'm going to do now, really quickly, while you guys are, I suppose, watching me, I'm going to post this over to my public page so people can find it as well. Okay, I've shared it over there, so hopefully that's all good to go. Cool. I also have from William Liesner, good morning. Awesome. I'm glad that you guys are here. It is morning for me. I know it's evening for a lot of you. Literally, Colors. I live right outside of military base. Colors just played. Happy Towel Talk Tuesday. The idea of Towel Talk Tuesday, for those of you that are like, why on earth are you wearing a towel wrap on your head, is kind of just a version of, I wanted you guys to be able to see me naturally, not edited, not filtered, just as I am, because I think that so often in today's world that there's so much editing going on, whether it's in magazines or, TV, any of that stuff, because it's hard. It just creates this facade of what people are. And so this is literally me. I just got out of the shower. I have a towel wrap on my head. I am wearing my Be Kind t-shirt from the Pop Culture Hero Coalition. If you don't know about the Pop Culture Hero Coalition, I check them out. They are accepting donations and do events, and proceeds go to stop bullying for children that are, especially passionate about sci-fi comics. It's just encouraging not to bully people for what they enjoy. And as someone who did get picked on a little bit for liking Star Trek growing up, I am 1000% up for supporting a group like that. Rupert says, "Hey, can't stick around long because it's late here. Good to see you streaming again, though." And Rob says, "Literally just morning for me in the UK." Thank you for all those that are coming out at weird times. I try to make this stream not too strange of a time difference, especially from where I grew up. It's like 14 some hours that the time difference is. And so there'll be times where I'll forget what time it is back like in the States, and then I'll call my parents or something and it's like 2 a.m. and I'm like, oh, did I do that? But there's some things that I want to talk about today, and there's also some things that you guys have posted on. I posted it around on different platforms, but on Twitter, you guys left me some questions that I can answer. And if you guys in the chat have absolutely any questions, feel free to type it in, and I'll do my best to get to it in a timely manner. And then I just have a few topics that I want to talk about that are coming up in August and September that I want to fill you guys in on. So yeah. Let's see. Jim says, "Like your office/studio." Oh, thank you. I wasn't thinking of this originally, but my bike back there says the brand of bike, but someone mentioned it to me the other day. They were like, "Oh, of course your bike would be a Trek bike because you like Star Trek." And I mean, I can't say that's completely off the bar there. But I'm going to start by answering some of your questions. If you guys have any questions, feel free to type them in. Let me go on Twitter and pull those up quickly. I have some notifications here. to go to. All right, here we go. I have a few different questions. And Alex says, I agree with Jim. The studio is so dope. Oh, thanks. I really had to, I had the space, right? And there was like a bunch, this used to be our storage room. So there was a bunch of boxes in here. And so I finally like cut them all up and got them recycled. And I had all these Star Trek posters, literally all just rolled up. And I was like, well, eventually I'm going to have to do something with those. I don't just want them to sit on the ground forever, right? And so I decided to go all out and just hang them everywhere. So when some people have come over in the past, they'll walk in and they'll be like, oh, like I knew you said you were into Star Trek, but you are into Star Trek. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. I'm very much into Star Trek. But Jim Yeager says Kapla. Kapla, Jim. Kalia says, love your shirt, Allie. Oh, thanks. I've been trying to have this t-shirt obsession. I don't know about you guys, but I have t-shirts back from when I was, in high school of like all the clubs that I was in, all the sports that I did, and I still wear them consistently. And so I must have like 300 some t-shirts, and I'm still ordering more. The other day, if you guys didn't know, they are offering a Lower Decks t-shirt subscription for those of you that are watching Lower Decks, which is the new Star Trek animated show on CBS All Access, or Crave TV in Canada, I believe. And I watch it through a VPN here in Japan, which is it's a legal VPN, which military families are provided with to be able to watch US television. So but they're doing a t-shirt subscription. It's how many weeks? 10 weeks? Something like that. And each week they offer a different t-shirt. But you have to either order the individual t-shirt by the time the next week's episode airs, or you have to order the full subscription, which is like you get 10. No, actually, I think you get a bonus t-shirt. You get 11 t-shirts. And they're all Lower Decks themed, different designs and graphics. And so I went all out and got all 11 t-shirts because, I got to add to my collection, right? Grappler Zorn says, I'm subscribed. Well, hello, Grappler Zorn. I was thinking about you last night, and I'll tell you guys why in a little bit. But I am obsessed with t-shirts. And so I was all about ordering those 11 more. But okay, let's move over to the questions before I ramble off into infinity, which is very possible. So I have a question from Rob Chapman, who is actually, I see that he's here. Also, I have a comment from Rashid who says, hi, Allie, how are you? I'm doing well, thank you. For those of you that hadn't heard, I didn't post this on Facebook. I posted this on Twitter mostly because I didn't want to worry too many close friends or family members. But those of you that, it was really concerning to like my parents, I made sure to update them. But this past weekend on Friday night, I actually started experiencing some coronavirus symptoms. And so I made sure right away to call the nurses hotline and tell them how I was feeling. And they suggested that I come in to the Naval Hospital to get tested for coronavirus. And so I did. I came in and they checked me out, and I got a swab for both coronavirus and for the flu, which they've said that they've seen some seasonal flu cases pop up because the flu vaccine hasn't been released for this following year here in Okinawa yet. And thankfully, both of my tests came back negative. It was just some other virus that I was sick from. And I'm feeling much better. They gave me some medicine and been able to clear out my sinuses. I was having sinus pressure and chest congestion and general fatigue and body aches and stuff. So I'm really glad that I did not have coronavirus. It was really scary for a while when they take the swab and you're waiting to get the test results back, right? I was just sitting there staring at my phone, I think, for 4 or 5 hours, just waiting to hear anything. Because that's terrifying, right? To not know if it could have been positive. And that would have totally thrown, like, I wouldn't have been able to go to work. Most likely my place of work would have shut down. So I was just, I didn't want to cause any trouble for anyone. and then it was just a crazy experience. But I came back negative, so I'm heading back to work today. I feel much better, fever free, all that stuff. So good to go. But yeah, that's why I don't remember what someone said that made me get on that. But Christopher says, I still own shirts that fit when I was 9 years old when the Phantom Menace came out because they only had extra large. I don't have any Phantom Menace t-shirts, but that's actually, I'm going to get a lot of crap for this, but that's my favorite Star Wars movie. If you want to know why, you can message me about it. And I've also posted about it many different times, but it's my favorite Star Wars movie. And I need to get some shirts in regards to that. Rashid says, I'm so glad they came back negative. Thank you. I am also very glad. I was very, very nervous for a while. William says, I miss no worry viruses. I totally understand that, and the fact that it's not necessarily that they were always no worry, especially for people that were, immunocompromised or, when they got sick, they got extensively sick. But just the state of the world right now with coronavirus, it is, as people have obviously mentioned, is very crazy. It's very nerve-wracking for a lot of us, especially for people that have underlying health conditions. And so I, as always, I'm sending you guys healthy thoughts, hoping that you guys are doing okay. If you need any resources, feel free to reach out. Not that I myself will be able to provide that to you, but hopefully I would be able to guide you in the right direction. And so you could find the resources or anything, a group or a phone or a helpline or anything that you needed. So Christopher says, that's great to hear you did not have coronavirus. Yes, I'm glad too. Alex says, phew, I'm glad you are better. I just had a mandatory 2-week quarantine myself and the test results took 13 days to come back. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. I know here, it depends on how many people are being tested. But they try in the military community here to get the test back to you as often, or not as often, but as quickly as possible. Just because of the fact that entire units could potentially be shut down, because someone got sick. I can't speak to if that's or when that's happened or if that's happened. That's obviously information that's not of purview to me. And also, you don't want to violate operational security for the Marine Corps, all that stuff. But they're doing it in like 2 to 3 hours here, as far as I know. But obviously, if 40, 50 people are coming in to get tested, that's different. You'd have to ask the lab technician about that. I actually just had a friend that graduated school to be a lab tech. So congratulations to my friend. Greg Porter says pod racing for the win. Yes. While I think it would have been really cool if they utilized more practical effects on the pod racing scene in Phantom Menace, it was still amazing. I remember on my Nintendo 64, when I was younger, playing the Star Wars pod and like being absolutely insanely obsessed with that game. And me being like, oh, I have Jedi reflexes because I can play this game, being a child and being obsessed with a thing. Yes, I like Star Wars too. For those of you that are like, I thought you liked Star Trek. I also am a Star Wars fan. So Trek fan 4387 says, thrilled to hear was negative. Thank you. Rob says, phew, we're glad Dr. Crusher gave you the all clear. That would be incredible to have had one of the Star Trek doctors be my doctor. That's the wish. Christopher says, what was your favorite character from Star Wars The Phantom Menace? Queen Amidala, I think. Absolutely obsessed with anything Padme. I just recently started reading Queen's Peril from A.K. Johnston. Yes. I'm making sure I get her name right because I would feel terrible if I said the wrong author. Who also authored Queen's Shadow, both Padme novels, giving a little bit more exposition to the character, in which Queen's Shadow is between when we see her leave, her reign on Naboo and then becoming a senator, because obviously in Attack of the Clones we just automatically see her as a senator, and then Queen's Peril being more of like she just became queen. It's more of a prequel, just became queen, and her kind of navigating what it's like to rule a planet, I guess. So both amazing novels. Rashid says, how's your husband? He's good. He ended up not getting sick with whatever I got sick with, so I'm really glad that he didn't get sick. I was like, oh, I really hope that I don't get you sick. And I was like, okay, I'm going to like stay on the other side of the room for a while. But he's feeling fine. Thank you for asking. Ramona Flowers, not that one, says, it always baffles me when people say that one can only be a Trekkie or a Star Wars fan. That is very true. I get a lot of that where they're like, well, which one? I'll say, hey, I'm a fandom lover, because it's not just Star Wars or Star Trek. Like, I also love Doctor Who. I love Stargate. I love Firefly. I love Babylon 5, Lost in Space. The list could go on forever. And so a lot of times they'll be like, well, which one? And I'm like, well, obviously I think that my passions are focused more clearly on Star Trek, because that's what I talk about more often. But in general, I'm a fan of all of them, and I don't have to necessarily choose. Or they'll be like, which one's better, Star Wars or Star Trek? And I'll be like, well, I feel like there's a fundamental difference between the shows in general, just because of the fact that, yes, they're both set in space, but that is really the only thing that connects them. I think that Star Wars is more of a space opera with, like magic essentially being the Force, right? Yes, they tried to provide a scientific explanation with midichlorians and all that stuff, but and then, Star Trek being something more, okay, this is more science-based, yeah, there's a lot of that. Okay. I have, Kalia said my sister had a pod racing Game Boy game. That's awesome. Christopher also says, have you caught any of the GalaxyCon conventions? Sunday, Will Wheaton is up. I actually have not had a chance to tune into those. They always seem to be either at a time where I didn't know what was happening and then it happened, or I'll be at work, or I'll be sleeping, but I will try my best. Glad to see that Will Wheaton is taking part. I've been watching a lot of Tabletop lately, a show that he did with Geek and Sundry. My husband and I have recently gone, head dive into board games. And so we've been playing campaign games like Gloomhaven, which has been really fun. Games. Just recently he ordered Zombicide. I don't know how you say it, but that's a really fun one. I bought one recently called Kepler 3042, which is like a science space colonization game, which is pretty fun. Also, I have a Star Trek Next Generation deck building game that I need to pull out and play, because I have not played in forever. Ramona Flowers says, I still get mixed up between photon and proton torpedoes, but otherwise I love them both. That's awesome. Christian Berg says, my son made his own double-ended lightsaber a la Darth Maul out of a mailing tube and tempera paint. That's awesome. I don't consider myself to be a very creative person. I'm not very artistic, although I would really like to be, but I'm not. If you asked me to draw something, it would look absolutely terrible. So just wanting to let you know there. But anyone that has that creativity to be able to see something and say, hey, I could make this out of that. That's absolutely incredible. On Twitter, if you guys are following, I don't know what their handle is. Thrifty Trekkie is what their actual name is on Twitter. And they just create these amazing cosplays out of the last thing you would absolutely think of, right? Like doing a Garrick from Deep Space Nine cosplay out of conventional materials and being able to make it in a non-expensive way, because for a lot of us, props to those people that are dishing out hundreds of dollars on cosplay materials, or pre-made cosplays. That's awesome. But while I've done that before, I also would love to be able to build a costume and feel like it would look awesome, but not have it cost, $300-$400, I could be like, oh, I made this costume for, $50. And I found the stuff at the Home Depot. I don't know. I mean, they don't have Home Depot here, but okay. I really want to get to all the everything that you guys are saying, but I also really want to get to the questions because we haven't even started them yet. But also, Christian says his son is 7. That is amazing that he's already like looking at that and be like, I'm going to craft that out of this. So, incredible. Cool. But okay, I have a question from Rob, in which I was already going to talk about, and then I like got sidetracked. Okay, so this is from Rob, which is at Trekkie Rob on Twitter, and he says favorite characters or characters you relate to so far in Lower Decks and why. That's funny that you asked that because my friend Dan, my Star Trek friend Dan from Okinawa, first of all, he says, "Hey, Allie." But he also says, I saw this on here. Did you talk about Lower Decks? But now I'm talking about Lower Decks because Rob asked it too. So if you guys are like, Lower Decks, what on earth is this? Lower Decks is the new Star Trek animated show that just premiered last Thursday. I'm sorry for those of you that did not get a chance to watch it, and I will not spoil it for anyone because I know that it's only available in the US and Canada right now. The only reason, like I said earlier, that I am able to watch it is because we're provided as military families with VPNs to access US television here in Japan. And so I watched it and I really liked it. I'm trying to make sure this is spoiler free because I would feel so terrible to have spoiled it for anyone. I think that it is a bright, fresh face to Star Trek. A lot of people are saying, hey, I don't know about that pure comedy element. Is it really Star Trek? And I'm like, well, I think Star Trek in general has the capacity to evolve as a show. And I think that it doesn't have to be necessarily confined to this little tiny box that I feel like so many people try to shove it in. There are certain elements that make Star Trek Star Trek. But I also believe that Star Trek is a different experience per person. Of course, Star Trek should talk about the future of humanity and it should talk about, boldly going in the universe and exploration and all those things. I think that's important to cover, but it doesn't mean that there's this little tiny realm of content that can be covered. I think that it has the capacity to evolve over time, and that's why we've gotten so many different iterations of Star Trek. We're talking about over 50 years of a franchise. I don't necessarily know that everything that worked for Star Trek 50 years ago with TOS would necessarily work now if it was just a carbon copy of TOS plastered onto modern day television. I don't know that it would be necessarily successful. There's things I love and both dislike about each Star Trek show. So yes, I really like Lower Decks. I think it's fun. I like the humor. I don't think it's as completely crazy out there as a lot of people were expecting it to be. I know a lot of people said, it's going to be exactly like Rick and Morty because Mike McMahon is working on it. I didn't expect that in the first place. I know that Mike has such a dear love and, passion for Star Trek in that he wouldn't, I don't know that I was ever even worried about it being being a tarnish to the franchise. So I am rambling. But yes, Rob says, what characters do I relate to so far in Lower Decks? I said this on Twitter earlier this week, but I am obsessed with Ensign Tendi, who is an Orion, and she's the science. Actually, technically, I believe she's medical because she has white boots. There's theory. People have drawn from the different uniforms that are being worn that science officers on Lower Deck have like the Lower Decks uniforms, but black boots, and medical officers have white boots. I believe Tendi wears white boots. Yes. So yes, I think Tendi so far, she's very optimistic and very wide-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I think that's how I would be if I went on a starship. I'd be like, oh my god, look at all this stuff! Like, I'd be freaking out. I also think while I dream about being a Starfleet captain, right, I think I would be more likely to reside on the Lower Decks. So yeah, no, I really do like it. So thank you, Rob, for that question. You're awesome. I'm gonna catch up on some of these comments here. Alex says cobble cosplay is one of my favorite things ever, where you like put together some stuff from nothing. I think that's so cool. Partly because, like I said, I'm not very artistic, but I have the utmost respect for people that make incredible cosplay out of expensive materials and incredible cosplay out of not expensive materials. Also, the people that buy their cosplay, they're also cosplayers. I know that there's a lot of friction within fandom of people saying, you know, hey, people that buy cosplay aren't cosplayers. I don't necessarily think that just because they didn't make it, that they're not a cosplayer. I think cosplay is more about embodying the characteristics of a character. The people that I've cosplayed before, like Una, number one, from Cage Era, or Ro, or Carol Marcus from the Kelvin timeline, or Rey from Force Awakens, you know, I cosplay them because I love them as characters, not because I am so worried about how it looks or how it turned out. I just aspire to be like them. Or like, even if people who cosplay villains, like you find something about that character that you're fascinated with. I think that's why I cosplay. I'd be curious to hear why you guys do. Daniel says, what's up, Allie? Hi, Daniel. Glad to see you here. Rashid also says Lower Decks is amazing. And Joe says, oh, totally forgot about Lower Decks. If you get a chance, Joe, I'd recommend watching it. Like I said, not every iteration of Star Trek is for everyone, and that's totally okay. I'm not saying you have to like it. I'm not saying because I like it, you should like it. I just would be fascinated to hear about your thoughts. Just give it a watch and see what you think, and talk to some other people about it. If you don't like it, that's fine. Just don't necessarily take part in like bashing other people because they do like it. If someone came up to me and said, hey, like obviously I just had this whole tangent about me talking about how much I like Lower Decks, and someone was like, hey, you know, it wasn't really my thing. I didn't really like it very much. And I'd be like, oh, that's fine. Like, it's just not your Star Trek. But you know, that's cool. What is your Star Trek? What do you like about Star Trek? There's a way to still have civil conversation without totally dissenting into craziness. Okay. Daniel says Ensign Tendi Heart, Green Heart, of course. Robert, my dear Los Angeles or Long Beach, I suppose, friend, says, hi, Allie. I miss seeing Robert, excuse me, at conventions in his red sweater. I love that. I don't know if you guys, I believe you guys can see the little graphics that they have of your profile pictures, but he's in his little Lower Decks get up, and I love it. Rashid says Mariner is an absolute favorite character in Lower Decks. She's fantastic. I do really like Mariner as well. Her, how do I say this without spoiling anything? This is hard. She's a go-getter in ways that people don't obviously, or like wouldn't automatically think of, and that's what I love about her. Ramona Cooper _she/her says, it's so odd to me that gatekeepers say Trek has to be about exploration. We've had a cumulative 21 seasons of that. Isn't it about time Trek branched out? Yeah. I think that, like I said earlier, Star Trek has this incredible, you know, foundation that we saw in TOS. And yes, sometimes you look back to TOS episodes and you say, hey, this is kind of dated. Or you look back to episodes in TNG, like Code of Honor, for example, and you say, this is kind of dated, or this is not really appropriate for a Star Trek story. There's bad Star Trek episodes in every iteration of Star Trek that we see. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to objectively say that, you know, all Star Trek is great. That's my opinion. You know, I'm not trying to force anything upon anyone, but I think there's great episodes in each Star Trek, and there's also terrible ones. But it can be about exploration, but it also can be about other things. You know, that's why when Deep Space Nine first came out, where people were like, okay, well, this recipe for Star Trek being on a ship and going off and exploring things, how can it work on a space station that is in one spot? You know, what are we going to see from this? And that's why we saw obviously stories within Deep Space Nine went in a different direction, but we still got so many incredible story arcs from characters and stuff like the Dominion War, right? Where we're talking about a full scale, what am I trying to say right now? We're talking about something that's massive, like the Federation going to war, which it's not like we hadn't ever seen big things happen in TOS or TNG, but we're talking about it's not just happening on Deep Space Nine. We're talking about something a little bit bigger than Wolf 359. Not saying less menacing, because obviously the Borg, but Star Trek can be about a lot of different things. And I am never going to say no to new Star Trek. It might not be my flavor of Star Trek, but that doesn't mean that it isn't Star Trek nonetheless. It carries the name. And there's something redeemable about just the fact that the show has persevered over all these years. Alex says, I already love Tendi. Me too. It's Ramona Flowers says yes, or yeah, Tendi is on the nursing staff. Rob says, you are so an Ensign Tendi, full of optimism, joy, and enthusiasm. Oh, thank you, Rob. That's really nice of you to say. Rob says that he's definitely an Ensign Boimler. Well, hey, we've only gotten one episode, right? We still got a lot of ground to cover. And I think that we're going to start seeing some of these characters really develop a little bit. And that's exciting to me that there's a lot of people that say, like an animated show, for example, even Family Guy, if you guys have seen Family Guy, which, yes, the show is absolutely ridiculous, but I still have a soft spot in my heart for it, where, they think that the show is based around just like played for laughs, right? But even in Family Guy, we have so many like redeemable moments or characters, like Stewie or Brian, even Peter, who I think is obviously the most ridiculous person on the show. But I think that even within it being a comedy genre, there's still so much potential for character growth and story development. So, yes. Christian says, have I been to I say Ghibli. People say Ghibli. I'm sorry, however you say it. If I said it wrong. Have I been to the Ghibli Museum yet? No, we can't go anywhere. Understandably so. It is frustrating that I'm a person who likes to go and explore. Of course, I like Star Trek and I like to explore, but I have not been to the Ghibli Museum yet. But I am going to buy all the Howl's Moving Castle things. That is my favorite Ghibli movie. So eventually I will get there. Joe says, I cosplay because my wife says this is what we're wearing to this con. That's great. I am one day, not today, and probably not anytime soon, but one day I will get my husband into a Star Trek uniform. It's going to happen. Maybe a Lower Decks one. He really liked Lower Decks when we watched the first episode. So this is me saying it. So for you, all of you, one day, remind me, have you gotten Brandon into a Star Trek uniform yet? We'll see if it happens. Daniel says, I'm doing Tal Talk Tuesday on a Monday. I know that it is Monday for lots of people, but it is Tuesday here. And the reason that it's moved up a day, because usually I'll do the stream on Wednesday mornings, but I'm doing it on, my Tuesday, because I'm in Okinawa, Japan. For those of you that are like, where are you coming from? I'm coming from Okinawa, Japan. So I am in the future for many of you, but there is something that I will transition into talking about in just a little bit after I go through some of these questions. But there's something coming up this month in which I have to have things scheduled in a very specific way so I can fit everything in. And I'll talk about that in just a little bit. But I'm going to answer the next question that I got. This is from @RealScottNash on Twitter. And they ask, I'd love to hear some non-biased thoughts on the fact that Annika didn't want to be a Borg, but had her free will of choice taken away from her by the Borg. And 7 of 9 didn't want to be a normal human again, but had her freedom of choice taken away from her by Janeway. Ironic? That's an interesting question that I feel like could really be, thought about a lot more, even over like a podcast episode. So 7 or Annika Hansen. Obviously, I don't know that anyone specifically wants to become a Borg. I don't know that I would ever want that. The idea of being able to know all the information, or the cumulative information of all the species that they have assimilated, is interesting. It's a very interesting thought, also very menacing at the same time, that they would essentially adapt all the characteristics of these species, which makes that individual species powerful, and group that into, oh, I just hit my microphone, sorry. Group that into one thing, right? And that's what makes the Borg so scary. But yes, obviously she did not want to be assimilated. And then when we see, like in Scorpion, right? She didn't want to become human again. The way that I approach this is like, it's a double-edged sword, because yes, as a Borg, is she necessarily an individual anymore? I don't know. Not really, because you're part of the hive mind, right? But is she even capable of carrying out her own actions? I don't. It's assumed not, because she's doing whatever she's instructed to do, until she, obviously is disconnected from the Borg and starts to regain a little bit more of her personality and individuality. I think of it as like, hey, she wasn't able to, or consciously able to, make her own decisions, so Janeway saw fit to make that decision for her. Yeah, that's a tricky question. That's something that's like very, I'll have to think about that on a deeper level, and maybe write like a blog post about it, where I can have some time to simmer on it and think about it for a little while, because immediately what comes to mind is that, well, she had her free will taken away from her because she was assimilated, but then when she had the opportunity to become human again, she didn't want to, just because of the fact that she was being controlled by the hive mind. Even though she had been chosen as the person to communicate with humanity because she was human. I don't know. That's a tricky question, but something good to think about. Thank you, Scott. And I'm going to move on to my friend Kira. Kira asks, it's Shark Week. What are your favorite species of sharks? Oh no, Kira is going to kill me because I don't know very many. I think hammerhead sharks are kind of cool, just because of the way they look. Great white sharks are obviously, I feel like, one that a lot of people know. I haven't been to an aquarium in a million years, which is ironic because Okinawa, I'm going to pronounce it wrong, I don't know what it's something Churawarmi. That's what the aquarium here is called, and it's the largest outdoor aquarium in the world. And I have not been there because I can't go there. We're not allowed, the restrictions, and it's obviously the aquarium itself is closed. But I would like to go there eventually. I don't know that many shark species, so I'm sorry, Kira. I'll have to look some up. But I think I'll go with I think hammerhead sharks are very cool. And if I asked, I know that Kira would be able to tell me all the different kinds of sharks. All right, I'm going to move on, and then I'll get to your guys' stuff too. But at Time for a Film asks, is Star Trek helping us cope getting through the pandemic and the lockdown? I know it's proving a real source of comfort for me. I guess that depends on the person. For me, yes, Star Trek is very much a source of, or it's very much helpful to me through this pandemic. Obviously, like I said, I like to go out and explore places and be outside and do new things. And I've obviously been kind of limited on how that works or how that's going to happen because of the restrictions here in Okinawa. I will more than gladly abide by them, because if I'm keeping someone else safe, I will go to the ends of the world, essentially. I don't think that wearing a piece of cloth on my face is an infringement of my rights. I don't necessarily want to get into an argument with anyone about it. So I'm just leaving that there. But if I'm going to take part in keeping other people safe, I will do whatever I need to do, or whatever healthcare professionals recommend of me. But yeah, I think that in general, to be able to see that hope and optimism that we do see in Star Trek, watching episodes or watching your favorite Star Trek movie, it doesn't even have to be Star Trek in general. It could be any piece of media that you enjoy, whether it's a book, whether it's a TV show, a movie, watching your favorite streamer, which it's okay if it's not me, I get it. There's many that do this way more often than me, or watching YouTube videos, or chatting with people on social media, getting in touch with family. There's a lot of different outlets in which can make you, or might have the ability to make you feel more comfortable. And I encourage you guys, or all of you, to be able to, do whatever you need to do to feel like you're feeling comfortable. And if you are having trouble, to reach out. There have been times during this whole pandemic thing where it's felt a little overwhelming and kind of hard to bear. And that's why I feel so fortunate to have so many friends and family that are there to support me. So if you feel, like I said earlier, if you feel like you're needing help, or if you are feeling like you're missing some resources, feel free to reach out. I'm not the do all say all of all this stuff, but if you guys need help, I'll try my best to get to all of you. I know that I get a lot of DMs, and I try my best to get to all of them, but I'll do my best to send you in the right direction, because I'm not a person who knows all. But if I can try to send you in a direction that might help you, I'm more than happy to do that for you. So, okay. Christopher says, I always find it interesting that 7 and 9 was assimilated before the episode Q Who. Yeah, I think in general, how long ago was it? Like a few months ago, Star Trek, like the social media page, released like a timeline of, like, obviously where the series happened, but also like big events. And I think that, I don't know if it's been done. It might have been done before, of having like this cumulative timeline of all of these episodes in which they take place and how they overlap. That would be an insanely big document. It wouldn't even fit, I'm sure, in this room. Or it'd have to be like size 2 font or something, but that would be interesting to have, like, this cumulative timeline in which, you can go on Memory Alpha or look in the Star Trek Encyclopedia, and it'll tell you star dates and stuff and when things occurred, but to have like a graphic of it all, that would be a challenge. Continuum Trek says, is your husband a Trekkie? I'm trying. Not yet. He is much more a Star Wars fan, much more a gaming fan. He's really into Doom. He obsessed with, obviously, Doom Eternal, just came out recently. Absolutely loves it. What else is he? Ghost of Tsushima just came out. He's gonna start playing that. He's more of a gamer, I think. But I'm really gonna try to get him into Star Trek, and he's been very successful in getting me back from, or not back to, but like into gaming. We're talking 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't even know how to hold a DualShock controller, and now I'm playing, STO on PS4, or Horizon Zero Dawn, or button mashing on Mortal Kombat or Injustice. He's great also at Mortal Kombat. Yes. Okay. Joe says, Churami. Okay. Churami Aquarium. Okay. Because I knew I had pronounced it wrong. Because I was like, I know it's like, I don't know. I was like, I've seen it on a sign before, but I couldn't exactly remember. Christopher says, what are your thoughts on the theme song for Lower Decks? I enjoyed the music theme more than Picard. As someone who went to college for music, I have a special place in my heart for the Star Trek themes. I was not so much a fan of the Picard theme at first, and then as the more that I watched the show, the more it grew on me. It was obviously kind of characteristically different than the themes that we've been exposed to already. I'm not in the same way that Enterprise was different with not just having an orchestral score, because Faith of the Heart, right? Woo. But I like it. I like the Lower Decks theme. I love the opening sequence too, like the title credits and stuff. That's great. Very cute. For those of you that haven't seen it, I won't say anything about it, but I will have to listen to the Lower Decks theme a lot more times to be able to make an educated judgment about that. So yeah. Daniel says, I've never asked you, Allie, but what's your favorite Trek? Deep Space Nine. But Voyager is close, just because I've been watching through it lately. Did not like Voyager growing up, really. I don't know why, but now watching back through Voyager, absolutely obsessed with it. Maybe it's just because I can connect to the characters a little bit more because I am at a point in my life where I'm experiencing some of the same things that they are, like leadership and, wanting to inspire others and to lead people and to boldly go, right? Yeah. Oh, Kira's here. They say hello, my wife on the other side of the world. Yes, other side of the world, right? Kira is doing some amazing things at the New York Aquarium. So if you have not already checked them out, Sharkosaurus on Twitter, please do. Awesome stuff. Yes. But hello, Kira. I'm glad you're here. Christopher says, what's my husband's favorite Star Wars film? I think I'd have to ask him now because it changes. That's the same for me with Star Trek. When we watch it more often, that my opinion changes. But I think Revenge of the Sith. He likes Empire Strikes Back a lot too, though. But he talks a lot about remembering going to see Revenge of the Sith in theaters and just being like, oh my God. So yeah, I think Revenge of the Sith. Matthew says, what instrument or instruments can you play? I can play piano. I've been doing piano lessons since first grade. Percussion, mostly auxiliary percussion. So I cannot play drum set. I get asked that a lot. Hey, you play set? No, I don't. I wish I would have, but as a piano player, when I was, like in middle school and high school, I got thrown on mallet percussion because I was good at piano. Don't necessarily, of course I wish I would have learned to play set, and I still most certainly can. My husband, if you don't know, is in the Marine band, so he has friends that are obviously Marine musicians that play percussion that could teach me, but yeah, mostly auxiliary percussion, mallet percussion, and then I'm also a vocalist, so yeah. Alex says, yeah, Deep Space Nine for the win. Yes, Deep Space Nine for the win. But of course, I find something redeemable about every iteration of Star Trek. Alex says, and needing coffee. Janeway would say there's coffee in that nebula. Rashid says, yes, Allie, Deep Space Nine is my favorite too. Joe says, Voyager holds a special place in my heart. I was in my second year of college at an engineering school, and Star Trek was the biggest thing to most of us students. And when that show came out, we had huge watch parties every week, and then hours of discussion and dissecting the episode afterwards. That sounds awesome. When I was in college, if I would have been able to have watched a Star Trek show and then discussed it with my class, that would have been great. Although I will tell you, in college when I was in my philosophy classes and stuff, I was talking about Star Trek all the time in regards to like morality and diversity. Also have written research papers about Star Trek, have done presentations, feature presentations about Star Trek. Any time that I can involve that in my work or school or anything, it's going to happen. I think Kira missed when I answered their question. Kira asks, in honor of Shark Week, what's your favorite shark species? And Kira also had posted that over on Twitter. I said hammerhead shark because I don't know very many sharks. I'm sorry, Kira, please don't hate me. But I would, that's something that I need to do some research on, to look up more types of sharks. But Kira eventually is going to get Shark Trek started, and I am excited for that. Also, they sent me shark teeth before, which is like so cool. I was nervous when I traveled here to Okinawa. They're so small, the shark teeth that Kira gave to me, that I was worried about just like shoving them in our like shipment. So I had them in my carry-on, and I was like, oh no, are they gonna yell at me because I have shark teeth in my carry-on? It was bizarre. But yes, I think hammerhead shark, because that's really all I know. I need to do some research. Kira says, LOL, I'm sorry, I did miss the answer. And hammerhead is my favorite too. That's awesome. And Kira also says, yas, Shark Trek. Christopher says, the creature stuck on the starship intro to Lower Decks reminds me of the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Yes. I don't know why I just thought of this, but I heard from someone that the new streaming service, and is it the NBC streaming service? Why can't I think of what channel it's for now? Peacock. The new streaming service, Peacock, has Sequest, DSV. And that is like an old show that my dad and I used to watch together. And so just because you said 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, it just got me thinking about that. I might subscribe just to watch that. I don't really know what else that streaming service has on there. I'll have to check it out. Rashid says, how hot is it in Japan? It's been so hot in the UK. It's been pretty consistent here. With the Okinawa summer, we're talking 90s, low 90s, and like 100% humidity almost every day. And if it's not that hot, it's just raining and still that hot. It's something that I've honestly gotten a little bit used to. It feels kind of weird to say that, because when I first got here last September, I was like, oh my God, it's so hot here. And it's like, not even dry heat, because I used to live in California before I lived here, and California was hot, but it was dry heat, right? There wasn't a lot of humidity. And now being in Okinawa, it's like hot and it's muggy every day. It's kind of rough, but I've gotten a little bit used to it. I think that just because of how beautiful it is here, it makes up for it. I will be forever sweating, but forever obsessed with this island. So I have a question on Twitter from @HFentonMud, and they ask, actually no, it's a comment. Star Trek, or hashtag Star Trek and the community is as strong and wonderful as it's ever been. I agree. I think that whatever fandom that you're into, I would recommend get on, or try to get on social media and talk to some people about it, whether it's on Twitter or Facebook or Reddit or whatever platform that you're on. I was like that once, where I was like, hey, I used to be more of a closeted Star Trek fan, in which I didn't talk to very many people about it. I was more nervous to present it to people, because most of the time when I would talk about it, I'd be like, hey, I like Star Trek a lot. And they'd be like, oh, that's cool. And then they'd, change the subject. So I knew that I needed to find those people that also liked Star Trek as much as I did. So I didn't feel like I was the only person in the whole world that liked it, right? So then I went on to social media, primarily Twitter, and discovered this incredible community in which there's so many other people that are just as passionate about it and are encouraging that passion, because they just want to talk about this thing that they love. Everyone just, bonds together and talks about episodes and characters and music, and you get to learn more about those people because you see them like Star Trek, but you also get to know that they're human beings, right? That you're interacting with, like I said, or like Kira said, halfway or a whole way around the world, right? I think that's incredible. Yeah. So it started off as just finding a place to talk to people that liked the same things that I did. Whether, like I said earlier, I'm sorry I repeat myself a lot, but it doesn't just have to be a franchise. If you like running, find other people that like running and talk about running with them. Or if you like sharks, like Kira likes sharks, find people that like sharks and talk about sharks. Or art, or meteorology. I don't know, anything. Find those people that like the same thing you do. There's got to be someone else in this world that likes the same thing that you do. There's got to be someone in this world of billions of people. So find your people. I found my people. Kira says, LOL, and now you have over 9K followed. I am absolutely blessed every day to interact with 9,000 people that love Star Trek. I will interact with 1 million people as much as humanly as possible for me to interact with, because I am only one person. I don't have handlers on my accounts. So if I will try my very best to interact with everyone on the internet that likes Star Trek and wants to talk about it. But yeah, whether it's 1 follower or 1 million, I'm going to do my best to try to interact with you guys. Oh, Seta's here. OMG, Tal Talk Tuesday is back. Hi. Yes, Tal Talk Tuesday is back and will be back for some time. Rashid says, Trek Twitter is just fantastic. I love being part of it. Oh, yeah, me too. Absolutely love being part of it. I'm just checking to make sure I don't have any other questions here. No, I don't. Okay. And so I will catch this. Christopher just posted a question, and I'm also going to go over, we're getting down to the line where I've been doing this for an hour, and so I will start to wrap it up. Don't leave yet. There's still some things I need to tell you about. But Christopher asks, would I ever think of having a Patreon? If so, what tiers would you have? Yes, I have thought of that. I am working it out right now. Eventually, I do foresee myself starting up on Patreon. This is weird because I am seeing the live stream of myself on Twitter on my other monitor, and I was like, this is too weird. But yes, I do foresee myself getting a Patreon eventually. Tiers. I've thought about this. I've thought about providing exclusive merchandise, like logo merchandise or Tal Talk Tuesday merchandise, for subscribers, or exclusive content for subscribers. That I'm a little bit less inclined to, because I believe that anyone that wants to interact with me shouldn't have to necessarily feel like they need to overcome a tier to be able to do that. So I don't know if I feel so great about only releasing certain content to people. Perhaps cosplay prints, that I'm more okay with. Like a tier subscriber would get, a few cosplay prints per month, or they would be able to join a T-Trekkie Skype meeting or a Zoom chat or something. I just get a little bit touchy about exclusive content. I understand like people that do that, and that's totally fine. I just get a little iffy about it because I believe that everyone should have access to my content, because I want to interact with as many Star Trek people as possible. So yeah. Let's see. Shipperella, hashtag Black Lives Matter, hashtag, oh, I love this. And I just recognized, because of the picture, I was like, I don't know if I 100% recognize this person, but now I do from Twitter. Says, my first one of these. This room is amazing. Oh, thanks. Thank you. I'm glad that you had a chance to drop by. And I hope that you drop by in the future. I also have a comment here from Kalia says, replying to Rashid, mine too. I believe that is a reply to the truck Twitter is just fantastic. I love being part of it. Me too. Yes, I agree. Kira says, I will become a patron instantly. That's very kind of you, Kira. I will do my best to figure out what I want to do with that. It's just not 100% quite up there yet. But okay, I'm done with the questions that are in Twitter. Like I said, if you have any other questions for me, do comment them. But I am going to get into a little bit more of like the bulk of what I wanted to talk about I'm going to try to wrap this up in 15 minutes. Maybe it'll be longer. Maybe it won't be. I can stay on it for a little bit longer. That's fine. But I do want to talk about the one thing that is coming up this month. And if you guys haven't already seen it or checked it out, I would love to tell you about it, and also would love for you to check out what I've already posted about it. And that is Countdown to the 25-Year-Old Trekkie, or I guess the hashtag is 25-Year-Old Trekkie Countdown. But I tried to do this last year, and I could not do it last year because I was in the middle of a permanent change of station move from California to Japan, and I was trying to also do this social media campaign at the same time as moving across the entire world. And I tried to make it happen. I really did, and I just didn't. I look back now and say, hey, why did I think of doing a social media campaign while I was in the middle of the most stressful part of my life? I don't know why I did that, but I did. And it didn't end up working out. And I regretted it because I wanted it to be, or I had a plan of what I wanted it to be. And so this year I am going all out because I didn't get a chance to really do it the way I wanted to do it last year. And so the 25-Year-Old Trekkie Countdown is a period from August 14th to September 15th. My birthday is September 15th, where I become the 25-Year-Old Trekkie. But it's a period of time between August 14th and September 15th in which it is a month long of exclusive content every single day. It's not going to be the same content every day. I'm not going to be live streaming every day. There will be days that I'm live streaming. There will be days where I release a blog post. There will be days where I release a YouTube video. There will be days where I'm playing games on Twitch. There will be days where I do a Skype hangout. There'll be days where, there's different days, and they all have different videos that I've planned out, different events, stuff like that. And so I have released on social media, primarily on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, calendars of kind of how it's organized. And I've only released the August calendar so far because we still have a chunk of time before we get into September. But I also have weekly calendars that I've been releasing. And for those of you that found your way to Tal Talk Tuesday via that weekly calendar, I'm glad that you're here. But those weekly calendars have detailed information of how to access this content. If you have any questions about how to do that, feel free to reach out to me via direct message. And for those of you that are coming on Twitch, I am still figuring out how Twitch works. I am very new to it, so I will do my best to keep you guys updated there. And so, yeah. But for example, this week, so I'm going to pull up what is happening this week. I just pulled up the calendar. So yeah. So for example, the calendar this week says Tuesday the 11th, Tal Talk Tuesday Live. Watch on Twitter, Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, Twitch, which is where I'm streaming right now from 8 to 9 a.m. And it's 9:05 and I'm still streaming, and that's fine. Wednesday the 12th says Tal Talk Tuesday recording becomes available to watch on YouTube. It actually, because I am streaming to YouTube right now live, it will be available immediately. It is available now and will be available after this stream. So you don't have to wait till Wednesday. That's great. Thursday has nothing, the 13th, because the campaign doesn't officially start until Friday. But obviously I wanted to do a Tal Talk Tuesday to kind of preface what's happening this month. So Friday night, the 14th, preview night Netflix watch party. Join in on a Netflix party at 10:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time. I don't know what that is in all your time zones. I'm sorry. 10:30 p.m. Japan Standard Time. And like I said, obviously it'll be hard to remember everything I'm telling you right now, but these calendars, these little weekly calendars, are posted on my social media platforms. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM. But so for example, Friday night, we're going to have a Netflix party. If you guys don't know what that is, you can watch Netflix together and chat about it, right? Via a plugin on Google Chrome. And if you also are like, hey, how do I do this? How do I get onto this? How do I access it? Also feel free to DM. I can help you out. But this Friday, we're going to watch Ensign Ro, which is obviously Ensign Ro is my favorite Star Trek character. And so we're going to watch Ensign Ro this weekend on Friday and talk about it. And then on Saturday, I'm releasing a YouTube video called Alphabet Trek, which is talking about terms from the Star Trek Encyclopedia and what I like about them. I'm going to go from A to Z and pick a term and then talk about, hey, here's the definition. And then what do I think about that? On Sunday, the 16th, August 16th, not September yet. I'm going to stream STO on PC for the very first time. So yeah, there's also notes in there talking about like, hey, Japan Standard Time I can't put all the time zones here, or Tal Talk Tuesday is going to be available to watch after the live stream, or the Netflix subscription is required to have the Netflix party. There's lots of things, right? So yeah, that's this week. And then I have a calendar that I'm going to post next Sunday for next week. But yeah, so Tal Talk Tuesday is today. This video is just a precursor to what's happening. And I'm going to be doing Tal Talk Tuesday every Tuesday following. So don't worry about that. But okay, here's where we get into like the bulk of it. Cause yeah, it's a month of exclusive content and I already have it all. Like I have this master plan. It's crazy. Really it is. But here's where I think that I kind of want to hit home with this. And, yeah, so last year, and I know Facebook does this too, but like around your birthday, you can, start, donations to charity. Right. And like I said, I know a lot of Twitch streamers do that. And this is the very first time I've ever streamed on Twitch. And so I'm like, how does this work? I don't know. But I also want to mention it to everyone that is here. And last year I was going to try, and like I said, the whole countdown to the 24-year-old Trekkie last year did not work out because I was moving to Japan. But originally the plan was to ask for donations to go towards a nonprofit or a charity, right? And like I said, it didn't work out. And so this year I am doing that. And if you want to find some more, I'll post some information about it coming up. But if you want to know more about it right now, head over to my website. It's ttrekkie.com. It's no longer ttrekkie.wordpress.com. If you type that in, you can still get to my website. But ttrekkie.com. T and then Trekkie. That. ttrekkie.com. I'm always like, I knew I put that there for a reason. You can head over there and then click on the tab that says 25-year-old Trekkie Countdown. And so this year I am asking for donations to GoFundMe. And it's a GoFundMe that has a really special place in my heart. I am going to hold it together while I talk about this. Brandon, my husband's cousin, Ryan, was 2019. Yeah, so last year. Early last year was diagnosed with a cancer called NUT carcinoma, or formerly NUT midline carcinoma. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at the words or the classifications, all that. It is a very rare and very aggressive form of cancer. And Ryan is the same age that I am. He also, right now, he's Wounded Warrior Battalion, but active duty Marine Corps. And Ryan and Brandon are really close. And Ryan was also at one time stationed in California. When we were in California, we were all really close. He would always come over and we'd hang out. I mean, how cool is it to have a family member that, you're living in a place, military, you're living in a place where there's a lot of people you don't know, but how cool is it to have a family member also there so that you can hang out, right? That's the dream. But like I said, he was diagnosed with NUT carcinoma, which is an extremely rare and aggressive type of cancer in which there is no treatment or no known form of viable treatment. He has been struggling lately. And it's been really hard for our family. It's been hard for Brandon and I because obviously we're a world away, and it's hard. You start to feel disconnected, right, from people, from family. You try your best to keep in contact with them, but it's hard not to feel like you're disconnected. And so this year I'm asking for donations for his GoFundMe because it's helping him with travel expenses to be able to get to. He has to travel from Wisconsin to Minnesota frequently to go to the hospital. It's helping them with family financial struggles because of medical bills, and just in general support for the family, because it's I can't even imagine. I'm going to hold this together. I can't even imagine. It's hard for us and we're here, but I can't even imagine what it's like for Ryan is married, for his wife, for their son, for my Brandon's aunt, my aunt. My heart just goes out to them. I can't even believe. Cancer sucks. And I know that a lot of people resonate with that. But this year I'm taking donations for that GoFundMe, and information about that GoFundMe will be posted in other places. But right now it's on my website, teatrekkie.com, under the tab 25-year-old Trekkie Countdown. If I understand that everyone is obviously not able to make donations, but just by acknowledging that you've seen it, or by sharing the word, or by, if you are able to donate, I'm immensely grateful. But if you are not able to, because I understand we're in a period of time right now where life is crazy for a lot of us, and things, especially financially, aren't as stable because people aren't being able to work. But I'd really appreciate a like or a share, or just a reach out to say, hey, I saw the GoFundMe, or I read Ryan's story. It would really mean a lot to me. So yeah, I'm sorry to get all. I'm almost going to start crying. I try to stay very positive, but that is really where I want to send this year, to be able to do this online campaign, and then also be able to channel those, all the cool Star Trek exciting stuff that I'm doing, but also be able to give back to a cause that is like very deep rooted in my heart. So yeah. Sorry about that. Didn't mean to get too crazy. Myth Dustards, which I believe is Christopher, says, is the link for the GoFundMe on Twitter now? If you go, Christopher, it will be. I haven't posted it up just yet, but it's all the information to go to it is on my website, teatrekkie.com, and then click the tab that says current projects, or it's on, there's like a try tab. When you pull up, it'll say 25-year-old Trekkie Countdown, and you can click on that. If you scroll down at the very bottom, it'll say a little closer to home is the heading for it. So yeah. Joe also says, I understand the struggle of being far away. I had many family over the years go through medical issues. And it does take planning, patience, love, and support to help them and try to be there for them. Rashid says, I'll definitely help with whatever I can. That's really kind. Thank you. Alex also posted the link here. I don't know if you can click it because I put it on the screen. Thank you for that, Alex. But yeah, I will be posting up more stuff about that. Just to, there's also like a link in that article too, which talks about where there's like a online thing called Caring Bridge, where you can give updates and stuff. And my aunt and my other cousin, Ryan's sister, are really good about giving updates about how Ryan is doing. I will do my best to keep you guys updated with how Ryan is doing, but Ryan is really important to Brandon and I, and so anything you can do to help by either staying updated with his story or anything is much appreciated. I see Sam, who I went to college with, says play Freebird. I was in college band, and that's that's a thing that we did. But yes, that's a blast from the past. Thank you, Sam. But yeah, also Mystery School says, hey, hello. I'm glad that you're here. I'm pushing a little, we're getting to an hour and a half here. And so I am going to have to sign off, but thank you guys so much for tuning in for Tall Talk Tuesday today. If you want to check out anything in regards to the 25-year-old Trekkie countdown, please do. You can find me on a multitude of platforms. I'm on primarily Twitter at @TTrekkie. I'm on Instagram at @TTrekkie. I'm on Facebook. If you look up T-Trekkie, you can find me there. Ttrekkie.com is my website. You can find me at T-Trekkie on Twitch. 24-year-old Trekkie on YouTube. I don't have a whole lot on there yet, but that's going to change soon. And yes, there's I'm also going to be at some point and have done some work with the Trek Geeks podcast. If you guys have not checked out Trek Geeks, I definitely recommend that you do. Awesome podcast network with a variety of different shows in regards to Star Trek. Literally incredible. We also have an incredible sponsor at Trek Geeks, which is Fansets Pins. Incredible pins, not just Star Trek. They have a bunch of different franchises. I'm obsessed with these pins, literally obsessed. A bunch of different kinds of pins that you can find and then put on like pin boards, or you can put them on lanyards or whatever you want to do. Fansets really just, I'll quote their thing. Their tagline is "Our pins have character," and they do. Get it? Because characters. Ha! That's good. Also want to give a shout out because I know Kalia is here, to Science Division, which makes app interactive tribbles. I will grab my tribble. It's right here. Look at this thing. Ah! It also is not just a stuffed animal. It has, I can open it up here. It has a little pack in here that you can use, and it purrs. Yeah, did you hear it? Hold on. I don't know if you can hear that. So yeah, very cool. This is Cleopatra, by the way. That's why I named my tribble. But they have app interactive tribbles. Literally so cool. So I wanted to give a shout out to Science Division. You can check out, I believe on Twitter, they're at Science Div. I believe also on social media, other social medias like Facebook. Or you can just look up Science Division tribbles. Check them out. Literally so cool. Let's see. Mystery School says I'll add you to look for. Oh, thanks. Chronos _Xeris. Saris? I'm sorry, I'm terrible at pronouncing things. Live long and prosper. Love it. Rashid says, I love those tribbles. And then Joe says, wow, interactive tribbles. I know, right? It's not even just like, it's cool enough to have a thing that looks like a tribble, but to have it actually purr, and you can pull up your phone and like set it to different settings. Absolutely awesome. They have like all these cool videos of, you can see how they work, and you can name your own tribble. Super cool. So yeah, Seta says, keep the tribble away from the Klingons. Yes, absolutely. But happy Tall Talk Tuesday, everyone. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked what you saw today, feel free to reach out to me on any social medias. Say hi, say what you liked about it. If you have any cool ideas for next week, I post up usually on Monday, questions post where I say, hey, if you have any questions for Tall Talk Tuesday, I will answer them. Or try my best to answer them. But yeah, happy Tall Talk Tuesday. Hope you guys got your Trek gear on today, or you get your Trek gear on today, because it's Tuesday for me and Monday for a lot of you still. Wear something Star Trek tomorrow. Star Trek Tuesday, right? Like I said, my shirt is from Pop Culture Hero Coalition. Awesome nonprofit that helps with kids bullying in schools to combat against that. So yeah. Kira says, love ya. I love you too, Kira. Mystery School, you're a natural. And Joe says, so glad to have caught this. I followed you on everything I could. Oh, thank you guys. I will sign off with live long and prosper, and trek on, everybody. Bye. Have a good